It is very common for black men to get radicalized into anti-Semitism. That's one of the first stops on the Hotep pipeline, to be honest. Let's talk about it. And before I get into story time of what led me being schooled on my podcast about the understandings of the Jewish diaspora and diversity in it, you feel me, by Aaron, this anti-Zionist Jew, and, Shekinah, this black Jewish woman, I gotta make some disclaimers. Number one, I think Kimberly Foster's analysis is a very particular one about an ideology and not about all black men, and not about all points of my ideology. She's talking about a first stop in the ideology. For y'all that don't know me, I'm consciously a recovered diehard Hotep that still believe in many tenets of Pan-Africanism. And for context, though this is not the part of the pipeline that I got on, mine was more about white supremacy and economics. Here's an example of one of the first stops of the Hotep pipeline. Like Terry pointed out, it starts with the real Jews are black and it slides into the abyss. And to some of the Israelites that's going to try to be like Dominique in the comment section, yes, there are black Hebrews. But when you say the real Jews are black, like Terry also pointed out, it isn't a recognition of diversity. There's a multiplicity of the Jewish diaspora and the black diaspora. So saying the real Jews are black is very reductionist and creates erasures on both sides. Which takes me to this teachable moment right here about Jewish diaspora and how I got schooled. Because unfortunately, nuance be kicking out like ass sometimes, huh? So last year, I was going off about the Israel occupation of Palestine, and I accused the entire world of being anti-Semitic for not caring about Palestinians, because as I was taught in school that, being a Semitic is part of the Abrahamic religions and being Muslim is part of the Abrahamic religions. And because many Palestinians are Muslim, the world got to be being anti-Semitic. They ain't got the same energy about anti-Semitism when it comes to Palestinians as to do with Jews. You feel me? I'm trying to make it where anti-Semitism applies to everybody. Got schooled. Don't apply to everybody. Shekinah was like, no, research over me search. That word was historically defined in opposition to Jewish people. That's it. And then Aaron right here, you feel me? He schooled me on talking about anti-Zionism and Jews and how there are many Jews that are anti-Zionist. And I knew that, you feel me? But I recognized how the way I was talking about anti-Semitism in that way made it as if I didn't know that. You feel what I'm saying? But I got schooled, The point of this video is to not only recognize that the world gets indoctrinated politically, socially, and economically with Nazi speaking points about this particular identity, that us men in pro-black spaces sometimes can be lost in the sauce when it comes to anti-Semitic speaking points about power and control, especially when it comes to economics and supremacy. I also want to recognize what this man said right here about Jewish people and DEF CON. It was not nuanced. It was textbook anti-Semitism. It was dangerous. It was wild. It was foul. This is what I know from general rule of thumb. If you say anything about a particular group and the supremacists, the alt-right people agree with you, you probably saying some oppressive stuff. Education is elevation with love. Hotep, peace. The community's teacher asked, how did Hotep become a bad word? Let's go down the genealogy of it. For those of you that don't know, Hotep is an Egyptian word meaning peace, typically salutations, and in many different pro-black spaces, it's seen as a greeting as well as a farewell. You'll say Hotep. And when I was talking about the quote-unquote Hotep pipeline, I was thinking very consciously about how the word has been bastardized to become something completely negative, though it was meant to be something positive, but I'm going to try my best to explain that. Statue of Hotep right there. In time, he became the god of wisdom and medicine, or according to some sources, the god of science, medicine, and architecture. Imhotep was a priest, visor of the king Dozier, and possibly succeeding 3 kings in the 3rd dynasty. He was a poet, a physician, a mathematician, an astronomer, and an architect. Alternatively, a Hotep seeks to uplift and empower his brothers and sisters and community to inspire them to feel like the enlightened pharaohs they've always been. When I talk about being a diehard Hotep, this part of the part that really, stood out for me. Hoteps talk about issues plaguing the black community, like police brutality, the school to prison pipeline, access to healthy food. Some of them even talk about the gay agenda. Some of them talk about the LGBT community trying to get the kids or trying to be emasculated. And this is where the word Hotep becomes perverted. Hoteps think of themselves as being radical. But here's the catch. Hotep men are concerned with social progress at the cost of marginalized communities within the black community. So when we talk about the word being bad, it's literally what this person is standing on right there. Misogyny, self-loathing, homophobia, transnegativity, you name it. This is where the critique come in, right? In a perfect Hotepian world, I like to use the word plantation patriarchy, but in a perfect Hotepian world, patriarchy stands firmly erect. And this is where we start to see a lot of Hoteps get lost in the sauce of Western society notions, and they start wanting to have that plantation patriarchy. The idea is that the black family is the standard of the healthy household, and a standard which ironically mirrors 1950s nuclear family that is always already an erasure of the black queer or black LGBTQ people within our community writ large. Excuse me, science is acting up. But listen though, a lot of people that subscribe to the Hotepian ideology believe that people that are queer are mentally ill. They're victims of weaponized homosexuality that was created by whiteness to destroy the black community, and therefore they're bad. Not just sexuality, a lot of Hotepian ideology subscribe to bad politics when it comes to gender as well. Buying into superficial binaries of respectable versus ratchet, believing that black women should be submissive and not assertive. Or how this comic put it, if you're a woman, you exist only to serve the head of the household spiritually, mentally, and sexually. We've heard people on TikTok literally make those arguments. He called himself a prophet. See, Hotep ain't as popular as it was. Now it's like Menosphere podcast, right? But this is a subculture that may be on the fringe, but the things of hating women, queer people, and black women especially are more commonly held among black men that are aligned with the ahistorical Egyptian themes. Education's elevation, this is where I got this from. This is what I think in terms of being pro-black. You feel me? If you don't account for all the textures in our community, black disabled people, black trans people, black poor people, you feel me? You trash. You know what I'm saying? All you doing is taking your pro-black aesthetic and you painting it in whiteface. This is white supremacy. You feel what I'm saying? You like to pick and choose what type of expressions and positions of blackness and black folks you rock with. And that's what Master and them taught you. You feel me? All you showing me is that colonial education is so deep and entrenched that you believe that you can be pro-black while being anti-black to unique people in our community. You feel me? Like, how can you be pro-black and you disrespect the black LGBT community? You know what percentage of the black community is LGBTQ? A lot more than y'all believe. Don't mind my kid in the background. I'm still gonna talk my shit to you. You feel me? Just my son in the background, he know he better not bring none of this shit to my household. I'm gonna be on his head. You feel me? Education is elevation. Research over me search. You wanna learn more? You feel me? Google is your friend. Go to the library. I say library.